Well, it looks like you're looking at a TV. And I did that so that I could carefully explain how we choose what we see. We choose everything that we see in life, and we're always making choices. Some of them aren't completely conscious, but a lot of them are. A lot of them we're aware of exactly what we're thinking about and where we're going to go from there. So, to just get right into it, I'll start off with a little story about how my mother chose what she wanted to see. And she went through an interesting time. Halfway through her marriage, her husband my father, decided to become someone else. Not to an extreme extent, but we went through a stream of events in which he disappointed all of us. And no one expected it. I think comparatively it's not that bad, but it was definitely a life change for all of us. And he didn't really come out of it until, about 15 years later, when I was already about 18, was when he started kind of acting more like a father again, and less like some guy that was just there. And so my mother had that experience with one guy who was totally normal when she married him, and then he just started acting strange. And she ended up, because she had seen that once, somehow she ended up taking that into her next marriage, her current marriage. And she proceeded way after that to marry some nice British guy on a whim. I don't even know how that happens, but some British guy found her, and they got together for so many years. And he was pretty normal. I met the guy right after they met, and he seemed very normal. Hard-working guy, lots of money in the bank, owned 2 cars and a house. I couldn't see anything wrong with that. And I'm pretty sure there wasn't anything wrong with him at the time. But what happened after that was she held on to that structure of guys going downhill and becoming very odd over time. And so she begged the question. She sat him down one night. They were talking about her previous marriage, and she said, "Hey, my last husband seemed pretty normal at first, and then he went crazy. You're not going to do that, are you? You don't have any, issues I should know about." And then that was when it started. For one, he admitted to, a couple little things. And, he's basically said, "Oh, yeah, I'm not perfect. I do have, one thing that is, could be an issue. Just one mannerism or one bad habit, something like that." And that was when it started. That was when she got it in her head, and I'm pretty sure that was when she changed the channel. She changed her life from getting together with some guy who had a perfectly normal life at the time, and she changed it to getting with a guy who was going to be her last husband, going to do the exact same thing, go downhill and become some odd person that she didn't expect, and it happened. It happened a couple years after that. He started to become clingy and bizarre and began to complain about everything, and became kind of miserly too, where before he, just like my father had become, that was the main problem. He became miserly, and then they got divorced. She got with this new guy, and as he got older, he became miserly. He started worrying about money, like he thought he was going to run out. And it created a lot of lack in both of their lives. Well, in her life, actually, because, I don't need to elaborate on that, but she basically decided that. She decided, oh my God, there's something wrong with this guy, and then started to watch out for everything. She started to really basically try to find things that were wrong with him. And I'm honestly not sure why she stayed with him, but again, that was just another one of her choices. And I think that's a pretty decent example of how people choose what they see. They choose how their life unravels. And it's very good to know that. Obviously, there's a reason that I say anything at all. Otherwise, I would just do nothing. People need to know that you decide what happens to you, even if you don't think you do, even if you want to blame other people. You also have to blame yourself, because there are a lot of pivotal points in your life where you go straight, or you go left, or you go right, or you turn around, and depending on which path you choose, that determines what you experience after that. You might have everyone else that acts of their own independent will, but you're the one who decided to go there. Just remember that. And I've come to terms with that myself, with all the decisions that I've made. And it's been an interesting experience. And I haven't had a perfect life. I don't know anyone who has, except maybe millionaires or whatever. So, how is this useful to you? You can now begin to paint your own life. You can begin to become the artist, or the architect, or whatever term you want to use, knowing that you choose what you see. And a lot of this will come out of your thoughts. Your thoughts will create it. Even though you can't really see what your thoughts do, they are in a sense a wave. Whenever there's activity in your brain, just from a physiological sense, there are waves going on there. You have brain waves, and they take on a particular signature depending on what you're thinking about. And those waves also exist right outside of your head as an electrical and a magnetic field. So that's one description of it, without really going too deep into all the physics of reality or mechanics of reality. Really, physics is just our physical world. But yeah, your thoughts and your emotions play a very strong part in what you experience in life, in which events take place, and in everything. And especially in your perspective, to be more simple, just your perspective will be changed by your thoughts, or is your thoughts, or whatever. Take, for example, my last, well, not my last job, but last year, I was driving with a lady on a truck. She was my co-driver. And she had been driving so long that she had seen everything. And she had seen that people out on the road are typically a pain in the ass. And so she came to expect that. And she would drive, and she would get angry at people and get agitated, and just anytime anyone got in front of them or went too slow, or anytime she was on a street and someone did something stupid, she had a sarcastic remark about it, or she would just be upset. And I can't hold it against her. If you drive for 10 years like that, it gets old after a while, and then any little thing could set you off. But it was her perspective that everyone was a bad driver, and that was the main point. And I heard a lot of it whenever I would start to wake up and she was getting ready to go and park. Even before she parked, I would hear it. I would hear her remarks about terrible drivers that she would encounter. But then I would get up and drive every day. And I saw a lot of stupid things, but it didn't really get to me, and I like to think that I didn't really see as much as she did for some odd reason. And this is ironic because I drove mostly during the day when everyone was out there, and she drove mostly at night when there was almost no one. So that part I don't really understand. And that's why I think it's a serious perspective issue, because I can get out there and I can drive, and it doesn't bother me even if someone is driving slower than I would like, or even if someone is taking forever to make a right turn or something. Whatever stupid thing happens, I just look at it and I'm like, okay, we're here now. This is going to take a couple extra minutes. And that's about it. And I just find a way around. I find a way to get away from those kinds of drivers. But I don't think much on it. I just think, hey, it'll rarely happen, and so it rarely happens. I rarely have issues. So, hey, if you think you hate your job, it could definitely be worse. There are jobs run different levels of risk. Whether you have to worry about getting fined for selling alcohol to a minor, or crashing a truck into something, or just getting a speeding ticket, or whatever. Every job has, I don't know, I can't think of anything more. Maybe you take care of tigers for a living. That could run its own risks. But they all have, some of them have no risks, some of them have their own unique risks. But it really is what you make of it. And you can wake up every morning loathing your job and hating your commute, or just hating the fact that you do some monotonous task, or you can screw around with it and have fun with it. And that's the perspective part of it. When you wake up in the morning and you think, no matter what anything could happen, and it won't even matter. You'd continue to think, it's fine. It'll be fine. It's not a bad day. It's just the way it is. Whatever happened was meant to happen, and it was meant to show me something that I had to see. Or maybe even that I wanted to see, no matter how terrible it is. On an unconscious level, you might have needed to see that so that you could grow a little bit. Who knows? But if you're in a rut and you really want to get out of that, just change your perspective a little bit. Just think and feel as though you're going to see something great, and you're not going to see negative things. And then the negative things will slowly drop off. If you can really change that within yourself, because you actually reflect the world outside of you. The outer world and you are essentially the same thing. So when you change something in yourself, you see that change begin to take place outside as well. So when you start to think that your job is pretty good and you're going somewhere with it, then you'll see that you start, some time will pass, and then you'll get promoted and you'll get a raise. And you'll see maybe a coworker you didn't really like. Maybe they'll change, or maybe they'll leave. Anything can happen, and it's quite powerful to just change your perspective. It might take a little bit of conditioning. You might have to meditate on it or do whatever you need to do, but once you do, it gets better. So, and you'll notice that this TV is actually, you can barely see it in the corner there, but there's a laptop hooked up through HDMI to this TV. The TV also has Wi-Fi capabilities and everything. We don't have cable or satellite or anything, or any kind of traditional TV. It's just a TV, and we throw like internet stuff, Netflix and whatever on it. which is pretty cool because we don't have to deal with a lot of commercials either. So, just a little tidbit for you. See you later.